So how do you feel about divorce rates, and why are they constantly going up and up and up? Like, I don't even know what to say anymore.
Divorce rates are going through the roof because as long as we have apps, and I'd like to say that people want to order a relationship like they order a pizza. Pepperoni, ham on the side. They want olives and peppers. They want tall, they want short, they want dark, they want light. I mean, it's so crazy today.
Hmm.
People are always looking over their shoulder. So the more opportunity, the more, stuff that's readily available, people can't make up their minds. They can't just be happy with what they have. They always feel like they're settling. They're looking
Hmm.
over their shoulder. What can be better around the corner?
So how can we kind of taper that down now? Like, I'm just thinking, every single day there's something new. Like, you walk out of the street and, like, boom, something new smacks you in the face. Like, how in the world do we go back to how things used to be? Like, is that even possible?
I mean, listen, I think it is. That's why I created the service that I created, which is called Platinum Poire.
Hmm.
And it's a service for single, successful men and women who really, they don't have the time to be on, even to be on an app. Because if you notice, people who are on apps say to me all the time, oh my God, I have 100 messages in an inbox. How do I go through all this?
Hmm.
So we take the guesswork out of it. In our service, we meet every single client. People send us a bio and a photo of who they are, what they're looking for. We then set up a consultation. We want to make sure they are who they say they are, because we want to make sure that, first of all of our clients are safe, they're dating in a safe atmosphere, and that they have skin in the game. So that's why we have men and women both pay. A lot of times matchmakers will
Oh.
only work for the man,
Hmm.
and we'll take a pretty woman because she's pretty and attractive and put her in the database with no skin in the game. And I think that for when both parties are single and successful, they both have something great to bring to the table. And it's a little bit more of it's on more of an equal playing field for both.
And for everybody tuning in, so you can finally put a face to the name. So you don't just, especially if you're not watching on YouTube or Facebook. This is Rori Sassoon. Everybody, thanks so much for having being on the show today, for being on here. Check out her website, platinumpoire.com, or her Instagram at Rori Sassoon. That's spelled Sassoon, and platinumpoire.com. Some of you might know how to spell it. For some people like me, I had to look it up. So that's Platinum Poire, POIRE.com. And yeah, I mean, that's actually, your model is so interesting, because it's not out there, and I can't just go out there and join this kind of service anywhere. How do I become a part of your service, right? Because you don't just accept anybody off the street,
Right.
right?
So that's why I said the consultation is very important.
Hmm.
Normally we set up a phone call, so we kind of get the details financially, out of the way. And also like what we expect from a person. Listen, it's a service where you have to be accountable, because the way that it works, and if you don't mind, I'll take you through the way it works.
Yeah, I would love to.
So here we are,
Not
we
that
set up
not
this
that I'm looking,
consultation.
not that I'm looking to be on, because hopefully
We
my fiance
know.
doesn't hear this episode.
But you know what? You can send all your great friends to us. So you're doing a good deed.
Exactly. I'm giving
So
back.
for, exactly. So you're paying it forward.
Yes, let's hear
So
it.
for all the people that, would like to inquire about the service, like I said, a lot of times they would go on the website. It says, please send a bio and a photo. And the person does that. We reach back out and we set up a phone conversation. We kind of get the logistics and, the financial part out of the way. If they think this is something for them, then we set up a consultation. Like I said before, I meet with every single person to
Hmm.
make sure they are who they say they are. And once we go through what they can expect, their expectation, and that works for them, and vice versa. Like I said before, if um, you're a person who really is a big apper, as I like to say, and you're expecting a date a week or a date a night for some
Hmm.
people, this is not the right service for you. This is completely quality over quantity. And we want to make sure, like I said, like that this is not a hookup site. This is
Hmm.
for people who really are like-minded. They don't have the time. And sometimes people, they've been in relationships for 20 years
Yeah.
and they kind of lose like the skill set. How do I ask a woman out on a date again? Where do I go? So a lot of it is also, there's a lot of coaching involved. So it's not just about the date. It's also like, how do I get my groove back? How do I get back in the game?
Oh,
You
okay.
know? So there's a lot of that. So it's a lot more intense than just the actual date. Plus, we also get to check in. And Miro, right?
Yes.
If you're my client, I would say to you, because
Mm-hmm.
we would have, after the consultation, we then move on to the second appointment, which would be meeting with my business partner. His name is Dr. Gluck, Errol
Yes.
Gluck, and he is a doctor. And he specializes in executive life coaching, which he pairs with neuroplasticity, which is a form of medical hypnosis. But with that, he's also a profiler. So that is what separates us from everyone else out there, because we profile every single client and we match them up. The secret sauce now on the inside
Mm-hmm.
before the outside. Of course, the outside is important. You need to be attracted. You need the pheromones under your tongue to be
Yeah.
completely in sync with that person and be, have chemistry and be physically attracted. But when you're sitting there kind of like designing the relationship that you want, I need to make sure that at least on paper, I'm not going to be wasting your time. That I'm going to set you up with a match that would be more of a 75% match than being on an app and being like, random, who is this person? If there are certain specifications that you want, that's my job to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are certain deal breakers that you don't want, that's also my job to make sure I don't deliver that.
Mm-hmm.
And once the two people meet and they go on the date, I would say, always catch up with each person and say, what did we get right? What did we get wrong? And how do we make it better for the next opportunity? This way, every date at least is
Oh,
curated
okay.
and made with intention.
Yeah, I don't see many times often like through an app where you think about, oh wow, what did I do with that one, right? You don't really sit back. You just kind of, but the app doesn't even allow you to do that. It's like on to the next one, right?
Right, exactly.
Every
And
single time.
there's nothing human about it. Like
Hmm.
we can't talk to anybody. Everything is like, I know I get frustrated with Amazon. If I
Yeah,
want to know like what this product is or what it's not doing, there's no human element to it. So imagine in a relationship, how crazy is that?
yeah, right. Would I pass? So right now, me being here, this podcast we're doing, would I pass phase one? Would I get possibly selected?
Well, I want to tell you something. You have been nothing but a gentleman. So
Yes.
absolutely 100%. And it's
Yes.
also a person knowing, people always say like, well, I know what I want. It's like, well, do you? Because you know what you don't want? Because when you know what you don't want, believe it or not, it helps you determine what you do
Hmm.
want. And sometimes people, they don't even realize, what might be something that would be healthy for them. Because look, we all know that, I'm a victim of that. We've all had patterns where we've been in relationships that were more for the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah.
And listen, whether it's physical connection, whether it's a status thing, whether it's somebody who financially might be in a better position than we are, and or the attention that we're getting, but it's not really genuine. So at least you, from everything that we've spoken about, a person, you have to know really like what you don't want to help you identify with what you do.
Well, I promise everyone listening, I did not pay Rory off to say that. I did not. But I do wonder, and I know this is something a lot of people wonder. A lot of these sites or what all types of other dating, that's a huge industry.
Huge.
It's definitely a lot more male dominated, right? Like more males. Aren't there usually a lot more males available per female or no?
Actually, it's the opposite. There's a
Okay.
lot more women available to a man. That's why, people make a joke and they say it's a man's world out there because, listen, let me ask you a question. I'm
Yeah.
going to throw this back to you for a
Okay.
minute. Are you the kind of guy that you want to be the one in control? You want to approach the woman? You want to ask her out on a date? Or do you really feel like, you know what? That's cool. Like if she's into me and she kind of is a little bit more of the aggressor, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, naturally, yes. I'm going to answer part one. Yes. A. I'm
That you want to be the man
yes,
and like
yes,
that one in
yes.
control and ask the woman out, and you don't want someone who's kind of like coming after you a little bit.
100%. Yeah.
So I
Um,
find that also a lot. A lot of
mhm.
my clients do feel the same way. But it's a different day today. Women feel that they can ask the guy out. They can do so many more things. But I feel like today, and this is very controversial, people get lost in what, like, the way that life is. Listen, at the end of the day, women can have babies and men can't. But I know as a woman, I want to be treated like a lady. So I have to let a man be the man and let them be the one to be the leader. A man should always be more of the protector.
But then again, I mean, I'm sure you get both types, right? Because then some people prefer it the other way, right? And it's not that bad to not always have to be the one trying, right? At all times.
Look, I think that it really is a personality,
Hmm.
and what's good for one person is not good for another.
Yeah.
And like, you have to know yourself. I know that I, as a woman, I like a man to be the one, not we're saying that we have to chase, but I do like when a man pursues a woman.
Hmm.
I think it kind of sets the tone for the relationship going forward.
It doesn't always say that way, but yeah.
It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't.
And you because of your brand, right? You had an episode on the how on a reality TV show
Yes, we
we're all
did.
very familiar with, Housewives.
The Real
And
Housewives of New York City.
yes, and how after being kind of a part of that whole culture, how, did you get any? Because obviously there's good things and there's also very bad. A lot of people think of reality TV as like the downfall of America, of the world. Some call it trashy, some call it, some love it. How did you feel about being on it? And not, I guess afterwards, did you hear any bad remarks from people? Did you have to like stand tall?
So I have to say I was really lucky because I wasn't coming on as a housewife. So there were no tables
Yes.
I needed to flip and no one's hair that got pulled. I completely came
You
on
lucked
as an
out. Yes.
expert and as a guest. And I've actually been very fortunate that I've been on the show this coming season. The season premiere is April 2nd, but it
Hmm.
will be my third, time on the show. So they had brought me back because the first um, episode, I kind of hooked up like a speed dating party
Yeah.
for Carol Radswell and the girls. And then the second season, it was Ramona going on a date. And then third season, you're going to need to find out and see what else is going to happen. But I would have to say I'm very fortunate and very
Okay.
appreciative that the people that reached out to me, I have to say, majority of the people were all great people that were able to become my clients. Some
Hmm.
people could afford it, some people couldn't, whatever the reason was, but I really had such a great experience. And I think that I also held myself as being, the matchmaker slash relationship expert. So there was really nothing trashy about that.
Got it. So at the end of the day, if anything, a lot more good came out of it than bad. And I mean, all I'm
Yes.
saying is that I guess kind of where a lot of people throw their heads when it comes to that topic, and oh, reality TV is this, is that. But as long as you make the best of it, right, and
Yeah. And
capitalize on your
for
situation.
sure. And you also like the when they're editing, nobody's
Hmm.
putting words in your mouth. Like, obviously you're going to know how to behave. So I just did me and it worked out.
Did you have full freedom? Were you able to be as creative as you wanted to be?
Yes, what was great is that I was able to say what I wanted to say, do what I wanted
Awesome.
to do, which was great.
That's so important, right? Especially in this day and age, if you're able to operate creatively and not be censored at all. And how do you feel about that? Do you think that we are censored in a way with what we can say and put out there?
Are you talking about just in general? Are you talking about in an app? Or like tell me the
Yeah,
context.
like for example, on your website and
Mhm.
what you could put out there, what kind of content, how you can attract people. Do you feel censored in that sort of aspect?
So it's funny because I was recently on the Tamron Hall show, and a
Yes.
woman had got up from the audience and she had asked me and said, I'm asking for my 21-year-old son, which is totally fine. How much is too much information to put out there? And I asked her, on a date or on a dating profile? So she said, on a dating profile. I said, look, I mean, listen, we're all visual, right? Sometimes you're going to swipe left if you just don't like the look. You don't care what the person accomplished.
Right.
You're just, right, you're honing in on the visual and next. And if you like the visual, you're going to stop and read. So I would always say nobody wants to read a novel. You should talk about, who you are, what your status is, meaning, are you widowed, divorced, single, never married? If you have children, how many? Just give the facts, how young you are, we never say old, and what you do for a living, and what you're looking for in a partner, and what you do for fun. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple. At the end of the day, like, you want to be able to really meet that person and learn more about them. A little mystery here.
Right. So you don't want to expose everything right away,
Don't give
right
it
here
up
and
all
there.
the way in the front, up front, right?
Is this something you wanted to do growing up? Like, did you envision yourself in this industry, or how did it happen?
So it's really funny that you asked me that, because I, was always involved in the fashion industry,
Okay.
from when I was very
Hmm.
young. And, when I met my second husband, we were blending a family. I had a child from a previous marriage who was 4 years old at the time. My husband had 3 kids, and then together we have 2 more children. So I kind of took
Wow.
like a little bit of a hiatus.
I'm trying to do math here. I'm like, is
That's
that
6 kids.
6, 8, 10? Okay,
6.
6. Got it.
So you could call it more of a modern day Brady Bunch. And I
Awesome.
really was more of a stay-at-home mom. And about 12 years, into the marriage, I told my husband, I think I need to really like do something with my life. Meaning, and my husband always said, he goes, you're a smart, dynamic woman. What would you want to do? And it's funny because I knew that I needed to create my own thing.
Hmm.
I knew that I really wanted to be my own boss. I didn't want to work for somebody. Financially, I was blessed. I didn't have to. And I just wanted to, I just wasn't sure, like, what direction am I going to go into? Am I going to start a pocketbook company? Am I going to start a shoe line? Like, what am I going to do? And really, by luck, I ended up meeting my business partner. Now, let's talk about the internet for a second. Because I was looking for an executive
Uh-huh.
life coach, and I met a few others along the way that I just didn't connect with, felt were a little creepy. And when I Googled, like, it was more about like executive life coaching and hypnotism. I had, Googled most expensive, best New York City, and he popped up. So Dr. Gluck popped up, and it was really amazing because when I made the appointment with him, I came in, it was like an instant chemistry, instant connection. It was like almost like, this is so weird. I feel like I know this person. And lo and behold, like, we were able to talk about like what my strengths are, what my skill set is. And after getting to know me for a couple of months, he's like, I this is going to sound so weird, but I have a great opportunity for you. I was like, okay.
Hmm.
And he's like, I'm a profiler. Like, I know how to read people. And he's like, people are your passion. I said, 100%. I love people. I can talk to anybody. And I also do love love. And after he heard my whole story with my husband, and I was matched up through a third party, so that kind of like makes me want to pay it forward.
Yeah.
He offered me an opportunity to create like a really like high end, fun, dynamic, smart, matchmaking service that
Hmm.
is based in New York City, and we cater to the tri-state area. Sometimes people who also live Miami, Canada, LA. But we are really like in New York City. And listen, I built my clientele like person by person. I started telling people about it, and it just started to mushroom. And I remember the first ad we did in a magazine, which was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. It was a society magazine called Avenue Magazine,
Hmm.
and it really catered to the elite in New York City. And it was just like starting to get ourselves out there. It was word of mouth that definitely helped. And about, I would say, maybe like 2.5 years into the business, we hired a publicist. And that's when everything started to explode in a great way. And I have to say, like, it's been quite a journey. And now we built the company up. We started with, could you imagine, like, imagine starting with your first clients, like, how are you charging people? It was hard. That was the hardest part, was getting started,
Yeah,
because
it
you feel
is.
like, how can I charge people? I don't have other people to match them up with.
Hmm.
So I kind of just charge for the profile, really inexpensive. told people like, this is, what we're doing. Of course, they always say fake it till you make it. So when you come off confident and right, you're trying to listen,
Yeah.
you want people to believe what you're doing. You need to believe that yourself.
You have to.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. And then once we started to gain momentum and clientele and started doing the Real Housewives and doing, all these different TV appearances, it
All,
really,
yeah. So
really,
many.
it kind of like, and like I said, you have to say yes to everything. Say yes to the podcast. Say yes to the people that want to talk to you. Say yes to all the, you know, charity things that you're going to
Hmm.
give a free, whatever it is. So people really, you need the exposure when you're an
Yes, you do.
entrepreneur and you're getting yourself out there. You need to do things pro bono.
Did you hit like a point where it's like, wow, this is sort of happening? Like, because that's where I'm at in my business life. I'm 3 years in, so I'm like right at that. Like, this is like, every single day. When did you hit that point, and like, how did you feel it?
So I would say that I probably around the same time,
Hmm.
like you're saying around that 3-year mark, where the publicist was in play, we were starting to appear on television. I was like,
Hmm.
this is real. Like, this is real business. Like, I can't just close this tomorrow. Like, this can't happen. Besides the fact that, of course, like listen, it's my business is very difficult because it's very hard. It's not like you're selling, like I said, a pair of shoes or a pocketbook. You're dealing with human dynamics, people's moods, okay, and when they're
Oh
not
yeah.
happy, and it's like you want to tell the person
Hmm.
why would you not call that person to go on the date? Why would you wait a week? Like there are certain things that it's very hard when you're not the one in control. Like you have to control two people. It has to work. That's frustrating.
Do you still get personally involved in some of these relationships, or a little more hands off?
So, really depends. Like, it depends, first of all, on who it is. Depends on
Yeah.
almost like the connection that I have with them.
Got it.
Because I always tell people, they don't realize, they think that, like, people would say, like, why don't you just take this person? They're paying you. I said, it doesn't matter. I'm a true Sagittarius. What's on my lung is on my tongue. I can't fake it. Okay. And I always say, like, I can't find love for someone I don't like.
Hmm.
I just can't do it. So if
Oh wow.
I don't feel like there's chemistry with that person, like
Yeah.
how am I going to do a good job for them?
And are you servicing strictly the New York area now, or everywhere in the
You know
US?
what? I have to say, like, New York is the home, it's the
Hmm.
base. And I have people that live, interestingly enough, between Canada and Toronto and New York, or Miami and New York. So I would say that if someone never is in New York, or is, this is really, they don't have any ties here, then it doesn't make sense. Because the majority of my clients are from here, the tri-state area.
Are you looking to possibly expand out?
You know, if I had the opportunity one day to maybe franchise, that would be something that I would be very interested in, because
Okay.
nobody is doing matchmaking and consulting the way that me and my partner are
On this level.
on this level.
So, what about college? Do you feel that that is important, and do you feel that it's something that we need nowadays, like especially like to start up something like you yourself have done?
I have to tell you something, and it's almost sometimes it's always been my thing that I always
Yeah.
felt a little embarrassed about. I did attend college. I attended Monmouth University in New Jersey, and then I had gone on to FIT. And in my background, which I grew up, Jewish and more like a Sephardic community,
Mhm.
it was always very important. Like you needed the MRS degree, you needed to get married. Like that
Oh yeah.
defined you, right?
Story of my life.
Okay, so you
Mhm.
get it.
Mhm.
And, you know, I just want to tell you, my daughter herself, really, she's like completely opposite of me. Like I just wanted to go to school and have fun. I love the boys, I love the girls, I love the social aspect of it. I have to say that I think college is very important. I think it's a different day today. I graduated high school in 1991. It's the one regret that I have, that I wish that I graduated college. It's just mentally, for me, it was something I really
Mhm.
wanted to do, didn't do it, but it never stopped me from being a go-getter. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm driven. I know I'm ambitious. I won't stop. And a piece of paper was not going to tell me,
Mhm.
like, if I can or if I can't. So I let that go and say, let me deal with me in the best, in what's going on in my life now. And building a business, listen, I know people who graduated Harvard that have not done what I'm doing. So, you can't judge. But
Yeah.
yes, today I tell kids that are, in high school that college is listen, it's your education. It's something that no one could ever take away from you.
Hmm.
So I think it's important. It's definitely still my regret.
Yeah.
But I have to say that thank goodness it has not, you know, it didn't change me from becoming an
Yeah.
entrepreneur and really doing my own thing.
But
It's
it
more
does
about
get.
your attitude.
Hmm. It gives you a base, I guess, right? Some kind of foundation. But at the end of the day, it's whether you go like where you take it is where it goes, right?
Where you take it. And if
Essentially.
you read, people who read books, read the newspaper, you can educate yourself online. There's so many different books and seminars and
Hmm.
just talking to people. I'm more visual. So I learn visually. That's
Yeah.
what helps me, get to the next level.
Same. Uh, did you have any dark moments kind of going through this whole business phase and getting into the entrepreneurial life? Because it's not easy, and at the end of the day, right? You're putting yourself out there. You're the face. Some call it narcissistic, some call it other things. But that's what I'm doing, right? I mean, you are out there, and it's not easy, and moments are hard. But we can't always show the hard moments, right? Because maybe they
Right.
define weakness. Can you talk
Right.
about some dark places you've been?
Definitely. I think that anyone who says that there hasn't been any dark moments is lying, you know, or
Oh, yeah.
maybe like really was not self-aware that that was a dark moment.
No.
So I mean, look, like I said to you, the hardest part is also like my reputation, where let's say for some reason a woman joins the service and
Mhm,
she only was asked out on 2 or 3 dates. And let's say there was no one else that was a great fit for her. So what
mhm.
do I do? Do I throw things against the wall to see what sticks and shut her up and get her on a date? I can't do that. First of all, it's not fair to her in the long run. It's worse to have a bad experience than to have no experience at all. I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being true to the person, and I'm not being true to the brand.
Mhm.
So sometimes, you also don't want to have people say things about you or speak negatively, but it's really that to me is really, really hard for me because I care what people think. And, I just had to learn that I had to stay true to what I'm trying to do. It's a kind of service. It's like buyer beware. Like
Mhm.
you don't know if it's going to work out. Like all you can do is put yourself out there. So I used to be really, really sensitive and used to get really upset if somebody wasn't happy. Like you would do everything you could to make them happy, but sometimes you also have to realize like you are doing everything you can. You have explained to them. So in our service, which I didn't get to tell you before, is that that's why we don't give you like a certain amount of dates for a certain amount of time. We make sure
Mhm.
that, you know, if it takes you 10 dates to find the right person, it took you 10 dates. If it takes you a year and a half, it's a year and a half. That's the reason I want to set everyone up for success. And I don't want someone to ever think that I didn't take what belongs to me, you know?
Yeah.
So if what determines success in the service would be that you are in an exclusive relationship for 6 months or more. Means, hey, we did our job.
Yeah. After that, a lot could go right or go wrong, right? It's kind of hard
Right.
to
And
pin it back to you
and
at
it's
that point.
right. And it's also a one-time fee. So
Mhm.
that a person, they pay one time, and that's what it is. And they're part of our database. If for some reason they broke up before 6 months, there's no additional fee. They're still our client.
Transitioning a little bit, just current news. How do you feel about the Harvey Weinstein verdict?
So it's actually really interesting because I know one of the accusers
Hmm.
who was on TV. She's a model. Her name is Ambra Puertes. I think you
Mhm.
saw her probably.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
she was one of the ones they were describing, right?
Yeah,
I
she
believe.
was she was actually someone who had actually worn a wire in like 2015. I think she was like 22 years young, like something crazy. And you know, I think that listen, justice is served. You can't listen. It's a double-edged sword. The women who complained and said
Mhm.
that he you know abused them or was inappropriate with them. If you were the kind of person that at the end of the day you still want that movie role, you're still gonna,
Right.
stay in contact, then yeah, kind of doesn't look good. That's consensual in some crazy way, right? But if you're someone who didn't ask to be groped or didn't ask to be touched or whatever it is, and you actually followed through with, you know,
Hmm.
who you are and deem that inappropriate, then you obviously have a case. I think it's just so sad that someone who is given that kind of power just used it. He didn't use it for the good.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
And kind of, do you think this could be a domino effect now? Kind of like, with other such things that happened in the past, like someone gets caught with something like, financial scandals, for example, and then there's a lot more, like Wall Street. Do you think there's going to be a whole pyramid of accusations coming out now?
Listen, it's such a crazy world out there. Like, you never know, and you don't know someone's reason.
Hmm.
Like, all of a sudden, like, why is all this stuff coming out? Do you know what I'm saying? It really, if
Yeah,
someone was wronged 5 years ago, why didn't you speak up then? And I
exactly.
understand that, rape or, any of that is really embarrassing. And, I'm not, thank God, I don't really know what that's like, but I can't imagine that being pleasant at all. And I never want to judge anybody because I've never walked in that person's shoes.
Hmm.
So I think that karma is karma, right? That's why we always try to do the best possible job and be
Yes.
the best possible person we can.
Do you think things like this happen a lot more often than we like than we like to think they do?
I mean, I do. I think
Hmm.
that, people who are in positions of power have the opportunity to really abuse them. Um, I think that it's so sad. I think that if you're in a position of power, it's so much better, and you feel so much better to use that power for the good.
Hmm. Well, yeah, hopefully we could get some good out of this now, and that either, right, other good things happen, and um like you said, right, justice. But yeah, we're kind of past the first segment of the show here, and now we're officially transitioning onto our listeners' favorite segment of the show.
Welcome to the round with no name because they're all taken.
But it's okay because his evil twin Miko is here. You will
Hello,
have
Miko.
hello. How are you today, Rory? Nice to meet you.
I'm very well. I'm going to be right back, and
Yeah.
Rosanna is going to come in.
So you have exactly 5 seconds to initiate an answer. We're just going to throw a couple quick questions at you. We just want to find out a little bit more about you. So just don't think about it too much. Just spit out a couple answers, and that'll be it.
No
Hopefully,
pressure.
hopefully you survive, and we all survive, and the round goes
Sounds good.
smooth. What is your favorite book?
The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
I've actually heard of that one. What is your favorite movie?
Come on. Sex in the City.
I probably, if I had like 10 choices, I would have maybe guessed that
You
one.
would
But
have
yeah,
known that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Not bad.
predictable.
What is your favorite dating app, if you had to pick one?
Bumble.
If you were stranded on an island, and just in case this might happen, I'm preparing you now. What is the one item you want with you? Can't be a person.
Can't be a person. My essential oils. My
Ooh,
lavender.
that's good. Big old bottle, right? Big old bottle.
Big old bottle.
What would you do with them? Like apply
Le-
them,
yeah, it just makes you
drink
calm down.
them?
I mean, if I'm with nobody, right, I need to chill and figure out how the hell am I getting out of here.
I mean, that is a boss exclusive. Nobody's ever said essential oils. I love it. I have my oils. I use them all the time.
My favorite thing.
How do you drink your coffee?
With a little bit of half and half. Sorry, I'm still old school, you know?
It's very old school, but we will note that one down. I will tell Miro that, if he ever runs into you, make sure he has that, little bit of half and half and coffee ready to go.
I know everybody's with their almond milk, their oat milk, their soy milk. It's like, come on, guys, just like old school.
Are we getting too fancy these days?
We are getting too fancy.
Yeah. If you had an unlimited amount of money and you could start up any business right now you wanted, not your own and not a non-for-profit, what would it be?
Oh, you got to give me more than 5 seconds for that. I was going to start my own business, and it's not a non-for-profit.
It's not a
It-
non-for-profit, yeah, because a lot of people
Okay.
just would say a non-for-profit.
If I would want everybody actually to be able to go to college. They couldn't afford it, and there would be some kind of business where everybody can be educated, whether it's online or
Mhm.
going to the university themselves.
That's a solid one. What is one item you consume every day or you wear it on you, on your person, but you can't go a day without it? One thing.
That I consume.
Maybe you consume it or you just put it on, but it's like the one item you have on you every single day or eat it, drink it. One thing.
I don't want to sound like an alcoholic, but tequila.
Are we celebrating after the show then?
We are celebrating.
Do you have like a bottle? Like everybody's always has like the
Yeah,
bourbons and the
I
cognacs. You got
do.
the tequila bottle in the
I
office?
have the Don Julio 1942.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'll be sure to tell Miro to fly over there after the show. And last but not least, who is the person you've been most nervous to meet in your life that you've met before?
Oh, that I've met before.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Ha, that explains the movie choice then.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, full circle, full circle. Miko is out. Miro is back. All right.
Miro, me and your brother were hitting it off.
That was good, right?
That was great.
The evil twin Miko always wins. He's the fan favorite here. But yeah, I guess we found out a little bit more about you, Rori Sassoon, everybody, at platinumpoire.com. Be sure to follow her on Instagram, Rori Sassoon, at Rori Sassoon, Sassoon. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank
Thank you
you for
so
having me.
much. Yeah, the mic is yours. If there's any closing final thoughts you have for our listeners, it's all yours.
I would just tell anyone who is thinking about, who is an entrepreneur, really just keep on going. It's not an easy reality. Sometimes it gets really like hard, but if it's your passion, I promise you, everything that you're looking for and all your hopes and all your dreams will come to fruition. It's all about hard work.
Perfectly said. Thank you so much, Rori. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Proven techniques followed by professionals to help you make that next step. Again, that is boss2boss.com. And remember, the time is now.